thank you for being here, for being a great company and great team leaders, and you and owners, investors, and also thank you. So we talked a little bit about, I know Blake and Kelly are going to do needs and analysis. I just wanted to touch a little bit based on that. So every time I see a recruit coming in, whether we do the cold call, referral from an agent, or just any communication out broker treaty, you need someone, I always think when they come to the market center, I only have them for a short time. And I always think of needs and analysis. Why are they coming? Why would they be there? Why would they even give me an hour of their time? So I always look at in that hour time, how can I get the needs analysis as quickly as possible, but also stay on schedule so I can get to my next appointment, and also look at the conversion rate of that appointment so we can work with the gross. So the first thing I do is I always try to go right to, thank you for being here. I have to compliment you for your commitment. It's not easy to get away from your schedule, and you showed up for the appointment today. So I make a really big deal that they showed up. I mean, a really big deal. I never let that go. Then once they say thank you and their water's situated, I know the room's going to be private for the next few minutes. I always say, you know, I always believe in family first. If you can kindly just share with me, what does your family look like? So I always let them say a minute so they can just go right through it quickly. So they'll tell me if they have kids, then in my mind I know where the needs analysis is going. If they say, well, I'm single, they're part of this, whatever they say, that's where I take my notes at, where I'm going to direct the needs and analysis. So I just don't do the standard one. I believe we're all different, right? We all have different wants and needs and likes. So if you might, I'm a high D. If you go with this analytical, you're going to bore me, I'll fall asleep personally. So I always think, let me get to that needs analysis right away with that person. Then, once they tell me that, I give them a real quick, like 30-second, well, thank you for sharing that myself. I'm going to be married 20 years this year. I have 2 beautiful kids. This is my wife, this is where I live, this is where I want. So I just give them a quick, so they know the person next to them can relate to them. Then the first thing I ask them is, just before we begin, and I know, again, your time is so valuable, what's the most important thing in your life and in your business? Like, what would it be so important? And then they tell me that. Then I'll say, and what's the number one thing that you want your relationship to be with your company of choice? What's the most important thing that you want as a business relationship from the company? So on that, I'm already putting in their mind of change. So that's where, the needs analysis, I try to bring as much change from the beginning. And then, I go into the analysis and all that. Then the next one, I always want to know, if you can kindly share with me, how long have you been in the real estate business? So I ask these questions, I don't even if I know. And they'll say, well, I've been doing it for 10 years. Great. But there's one more important question I'd like to ask you before we go on. How much longer would you like to be in this business? It's important to me to see how long you want to stay in the business. And a lot of them will actually chuckle and say, well, I hope for a long time. Please define that. What's a long time? 10 years. Great. I kind of figured that you're very young, and I always say that, regardless how old they are. I said, well, you're very young, but what's really important is how we choose our time and how we work and how we pick the best company to work with. I'll say, you know what, you're with a great company. And myself as a team leader, I'll never put down another company. But one thing I discovered through myself through change is that we're looking for the best vehicle to take us where we want to go further, be more profitable so we can take care of our family and loved ones, but also have a business worth owning. Would you agree? So then I take them through that. Then I'll ask them, just give me a little bit about what you do at your office, this wonderful company that you work at. Tell me a little bit about the last education piece that you attended or you were trained on. Let's say you usually don't have one. Great, thank you. Well, share with me, when's the last mastermind that you had with other agents in your office? And usually it's haven't had it. So the one thing I've always been taught whenever I do something, I always want to hear a lot of no's, because what I want to do as a team leader, I want to bring the yeses. And then I'll tell me a little bit about your systems. What are some of the systems that you're using right now? Everything from drip campaigns to marketing, administrative staff, assistants, so I kind of assume, without assumption I should say, excuse me, I don't judge them if they have one or they don't. I just want to hear if they do or they don't. Then after the answer to that, I'll go through culture. I'll say, tell me a little bit about the culture where you work. How's the culture? How's the community? So I use the word a lot with community to find out what kind of person they are. So usually, the reason why I share that is I want to hear, they came in, they're kind of feeling, a lot of them too, is, you know what, I'm too busy, this and that, but you'd be surprised when you go through that little part, how they're telling you more than they thought they were gonna tell you, and it kind of helps me lead the appointment. And then before we begin too, I would say, are you receiving any kind of profit from your company, whether the current one you're working with, or one maybe in the past? So I don't know if they've been with another company, I'm just bringing that up. Then I'll say also, have you ever transitioned from another real estate company in your 10-year career? So I'm working on the transition part at the beginning before the end. Then as they develop into that, just shortly I'll know where to hit those key buttons. So if family's the biggest piece, like myself, the most important thing, I want to be the highest productive person, I want to be very competitive, and I want to be very profitable when I'm done with my day. So then I can go and enjoy the most important thing in my life is my family. Madison knows that. I'll never go to work empty. I want to have a result at the end of the day where I can go home to my family and enjoy what we call the fruits of our labor. We work really hard. We should be proud to earn an income, and working is a gift. That's the first thing I believe in. So as I bring that, as the culture goes through and everything else they're telling me, then I'll say, what I like to do is, I know your time is so valuable, and then you go back to whatever your conversation was. It was a cold call and someone says, I'm extremely busy. You want to think about that in your mind, that clock is ticking. My goal is always to tell them, what we're going to do is cover today. I'm going to learn as much as I can about you. But the main thing too is you came and took time out of your business. I want to explain about Keller Williams, our family, to you. And what we're going to do is our goal is going to be out of here in an hour. Is that fair? So I already programmed that it's going to be an hour. Then through that, I break it down in 15-minute increments. I go to straight out the culture. I start out with, I do bring up profit share. A lot of agents, a lot of team leaders don't. I do just a little bit, and I'll say, we'll touch base on that at the end. I just kind of want to share with you our culture of our company. So I break that down. But truly, what I try to do is explain to them, now, like, we have J.D. Powers, we have Real Trends. So whatever has come out with the company, I will do a highlight on that so they kind of see it. And I'll say, have you heard of Keller Williams before? Have you searched Keller Williams? Have you met with anyone at Keller Williams? And the last question, how much do you know about Keller Williams? And I'm going to say very little, and I'll say, can I ask you just one last question before we begin our presentation of Keller Williams? Why didn't you not choose Keller Williams during your real estate companies? And I just want to hear if they even thought of it, because that's really important to me. Then I flip the page, and I'll go short here. And I start out with, let me show you our company. And I show them the map, and I say, here's our company. Did you know we're the second largest real estate company in the US? And most of them will go, no, I don't know. And I'll say, great, but I'm not starting out very good. I'm actually misleading you. And I scratch that, I say, we're actually #1 now, just as 2 weeks ago. Did you know that? So I make that exciting. They go, wow, I didn't know that. So they get surprised. Then I'll say, one thing different that our company does, and I just want to share with your model, whether you're with the blue company, red company, you're an amazing company, but our company is about culture. It's about not growing quickly, it's about quality, not quantity. We have about 702 offices in the United States and Canada, and we're growing globally. And our competitors have between 3,000 and 4,000 offices. Did you know that? And they'll say, wow, I didn't know that. So our goal is truly to invite one agent at a time to join our company, not in mass. We don't advertise, we don't do commercials. So this appointment's really important for us. As we go along today, I just want you to know this will be a personal invitation for you. So I kind of bring up the invitation part that's going to come to the end. And then as I go through it, talk about everything about the culture of the company. I talk about profit share. I talk about the economic model. So just real quick, when I get to the economic model, just to get the numbers out of the way, I'll say, as you know, every company has a commission, and we call franchise fees, royalty fees. Is that what your company calls it? Great. So again, I just go back to the quick nosing yeses. Can you please share with me your company royalty? Do you have that? And they'll say, yes. Is that 7%, 8, 7? Great, thank you for sharing that. Now, that 7%, does that ever go away? No, it doesn't. Okay, no. So, and I'm actually writing no. Then I'll go, your commission structure. Whether you're here at this volume or you add another $10 million, does someone in your company sit with you and say, you know what, actually your production level has hit its goal, and you don't have to pay any more commission to your company? Has anyone sat with you lately and shared that with you? And they're like, no, they haven't. It's great. So I do that. Then the last one I'll say is, again, going back to profit share, does your company at the end of the month, after they pay their bills, do they share any profits with anyone else in your company, meaning you, the agent? So then when they say no, then I'll go into the economic model. I'll say, I'm gonna get the numbers out of the way that's the least important right now, the numbers. So that way, they're sitting in the chair, I get the numbers out of the way, and then I go back to the needs analysis. Let's talk about your business when you came in here earlier. You talked about what's important to you. Are you working a lot of hours? Yes, I am. Great. Do you have an assistant? So I go back and forth with economic model, the numbers, the 70-30 cap, the 6% royalty, how it'll affect their business, how they can redistribute their income that they're gonna have extra and redevelop. Then I look at, are you a single individual person, or are you working as a team? Are you working with anyone else in your company? So, in just short, the most important thing is I always look at how much impact can we help someone have enough information to make a decision in a short period of time. Whether they're brand new or they're a capper, I keep it the same. So I stick with the same models. And the goal is always in the needs analysis to always begin in the beginning, what's important to them, then also end with, I love to extend an invitation. I feel that you're the right fit for our culture and our company, and at this time I'm extending an invitation to join our company. And then I take it from there. So these are just little tidbits. I know I just have a little few minutes, so any quick questions real quick at all?